Jackie Van Ham, and I am on an adventure to find the coolest people on two wheels. We're here in Chicago on this episode of Z1R Downshift. We're here on the west side of Chicago to talk to one of the city's most famous and infamous stunt riders and moto vloggers, Brian 636, here at Misguided Motorsports. In recent years, Brian has been carving out a niche for himself, both online and in West Chicago, as a motorcycle icon whose passion for bikes started at an early age.
I was on a 1994 Ninja 500. I had to write my mom a long letter of why she should let me get a motorcycle when I was 14. I still don't know why she let me get a motorcycle when I was 14.
It must have been convincing.
I don't know. Yeah, but she let me get a full-size street bike right when I turned 14. And I just kind of rode it around the block until I turned 15, got a learner's permit, and then I started riding a little bit more around. And then the same day I got my driver's license when I was 16, I got my M class the same day. So yeah. I've been on motorcycles ever since I could, be on the road.
What first drew you to motorcycles?
I feel like I didn't really have a choice. Me and my little brother were put on BMX bikes when we were 5 and 6, and we're on the racetrack right away.
Okay.
So we were always kind of just pushing the limits on bikes. To be honest, it was always who could jump farther, who could wheelie longer.
After developing his riding skills in the streets of the west suburbs of Chicago, Brian enlisted in the Marines and headed west, which opened up a new type of riding.
I was in Southern California, stationed out of Camp Pendleton for 4 years. I was with 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, and
hoorah!
Yeah, hurrah! And I did ride out there when we weren't training or deployed, and the riding scene out there, I was more so into the canyon riding and the racing. I was hitting tracks like Chuckwalla and Buttonwillow, and I was hitting notorious highways like Ortega, Palomar, Mulholland. So I was all about that canyon riding and track riding when I was in Southern California and when we did have time outside of our battalion schedule. So
yeah. So from canyon riding, getting a knee down, canyon carving, all that good stuff. Let's fast forward now. You're on the west side of Chicago. You came back home, as it were, and now you are this internet famous, as well as west side Chicago in general famous stunter, as well as putting on events and hosting stuff. How did that happen? Where did that transition happen? When did you start stunt riding?
So I've always kind of known how to wheelie. Even when I was out in Cali, and even when I got my first bike, I think I was wheeling on it. So I've always kind of learned how to wheelie and knew what balance point was. But it wasn't until I got out of the Marines and my little brother really pushed me to get into stunt riding, because I had lost a couple friends doing the fast stuff out in California. And he was like, "You really got to get into stunt riding. I think it'll come naturally to you." And I had some money saved up from my 2 deployments, and I came home and I bought a Ninja 636, and it's still the bike I ride to this day.
That is the bike that has given Brian his iconic namesake, which you will find parked at his shop, Misguided, which has become a beacon to riders in this part of the city.
I started Misguided in 2017, I believe, and it was more so just online clothing and apparel that I felt like it was a brand that reflected what stunt riders are. We're a little bit misguided,
sure.
A little bit misunderstood, not your typical rider. So I thought that word resonated with stunt riders, and it was a clothing brand at first. And then we opened up Misguided Motorsports here on Harrison and Central in 2022. So a little over 2.5 years now we've been here, and more so we wanted to become a dealer for drag specialties and parts unlimited, and be able to do tire changes, vent helmets, and do a service to the city, because there is no other real motorcycle shops on this side of the city. There's nothing. So.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit of pretty much basic type service here. Yeah. Do you get really deep in any performance or anything? It's just kind of providing general service.
Correct. Yeah, and we are involved with the stunt community, so we do full-on stunt builds. Specific to stunt riding. Whether it's a Harley Davidson from the ground up, a 636 from the ground up, F4i. Lots of Grom builds, lots of minis. Groms are very popular here.
Very cool.
For a very obvious reason. The small CC bikes are very popular on the west, south, and north sides of the city.
Brian knows it may not be the most obvious location for a shop like this, but it seems to be working.
You're on the west side of Chicago. This is a very interesting location to come and open up a motorcycle shop. What drew you to this community? What keeps you in this community? You know, can you talk a little bit about the west side of Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like ever since when I came home, I started going to DePaul University, and it transitioned me into needing a place to stay in the city, and I couldn't really afford to live on the north side, so I moved to the west side, and been riding out here, been doing meets out here ever since. And yeah, it is a little bit more disenfranchised part of the city, and there's a little bit of stigma to why you own a shop here, why do you live here, why do you know, continue to stay there. But there is something special about over here. I feel like there's the best people, the best restaurants. The community that exists here is second to none. Everyone, you know, that we ride with and that comes to the shop, we all might look different and come from different backgrounds and everything, regardless, but we all come together to ride, and we find unity in that. So I feel like this is a really special place, and we've been riding and meeting up here now for, I believe, 8 years.
This common ground of motorcycles, this common language of motorcycles is what kind of ties everybody together.
It's my pleasure to bring light to the good people and the good things that exist over here. Just, you know, the stuff that the West Side is known for.
Yeah, the stuff that you see on the news.
Exactly, yeah.
I do love watching your channel because you do have amazing rides and you do amazing stunts, obviously. But you also really do pull over, talk to the locals, talk to the people in your neighborhood that you see every single day, every single week, and you give it humanity. If that's a fair way of saying it. You let people have a little bit of a peek inside of what goes on here on the West Side.
When we return, I'll ask Brian more about his social media presence, why he conceals his identity, and the Chicago event known as Leaned Back. The neighborhood itself is the canvas for his popular moto vlogs, where Brian 636 exists as real-life Brian conceals his identity.
The whole Brian 636 persona, you know, always covered up, always in a helmet. What is this? What is that all about?
I mean, I feel like there's a couple of reasons for it. I really am just into my riding and that professional side of my life being that side of my life. I want my private life to be just that, and there is a lot of eyes on myself and the channel, and to put it into perspective, I just want my private life. When I go downtown and I'm having dinner, I like just being Brian, not Brian 636. So my personal Instagram's got like 300 followers, and that's Brian. You know, I'm a Marine vet. I'm close with a couple people, and they know that side of me, and everyone else gets to know the side of me that does stunts and talks history and does fun moto vlogs. But I think I am just going to remain a little bit more low key for a while.
Brian's personal Instagram may only have a few hundred followers, but that's nothing compared to the numbers Brian 636 has.
What do the numbers look like for you right now online? What does your presence look like?
I think my Instagram has like 350,000 followers, and YouTube has like 1.2 million subscribers, which is crazy.
Pulling down some big numbers over here on the West Side.
The West Side has become the home to an annual event that thousands of riders flock to.
Lean Back has been going on for 8 years, so very similar time frame to Misguided. We basically had been going to stunt rides, myself and Elijah Marshall, who I do stunt shows with. I think the guys are out in Milwaukee watching us perform together. We started it just because we wanted to ride more than 2 days and at the time, all stunt rides were normally 1 to 2 days, and we wanted to host a week-long event and get all of our friends from across the country to come and experience our beautiful city. As time has gone on, it's gotten bigger, and more companies have reached out to work with us through it. More local officials and police departments have helped us make it safe and as organized as possible. And now it's turned into what's probably arguably the biggest stunt ride in the country, if not the world. So it's a pretty big event that we host here once a year, and it's definitely a privilege.
That's awesome. I missed it by like 2 days this year. It is absolutely going on my calendar next year. I watched all of your Instagram and all the videos that have come out of it. It looks very rowdy. It looks like a really good time. But I mean, no catastrophes. It's actually run for being really pretty insane of an event and very like wild, wild west. Everybody's doing their own thing.
Yeah.
It actually seemed to go off without a hitch.
Yeah, 8 years, no serious injuries and no deaths, which, you know, you get 2,000 or 3,000 sport bike riders and motorcyclists together for a week long. Like, I promise you, these other motorcycle rallies, they have multiple deaths every year, and we don't have that.
Yeah.
And I really do want to just thank the local Chicago guys and locals for helping us run an organized event and helping keep, you know, the chaos confined and calling out the mistakes that other riders are making before they happen. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good leaders here in the city of Chicago, and I think everyone can appreciate that because, you know, no one's died.
Yeah. I mean, it's a testimony to how many people you have on board, helping make sure that it is a safe event.
Yep.
You know, everyone's looking out for each other. I love that vibe. Chicago, I actually am from this area. I am also, this is my hometown also.
Nice.
I love that it's the biggest city, the biggest small city. Like we all really, it has a very community vibe here for being such a massive, massive town.
Yeah.
There's so much Chicago pride. There's so much people that want to help out, that want to jump in, participate. It's Midwest, you know, we're friendly out here. We help each other out.
Z1R was happy to be a part of the 2024 Leaned Back event, as well as providing Brian with gear.
I think it's pretty obvious that helmets play an enormous role in stunt riding. We're pushing our bikes, our bodies, and ourselves to the absolute limit to learn some of these tricks. And with that being said, the most vital part to protect yourself is your head. And helmets have saved my life multiple times. Ever since I've been in my Z1R helmet, I've felt safe, secure. They're very friendly to be at our shop with a Parts Unlimited and drag account. They've gone off with a really good bang here in Chicago, and it seems like people are starting to really like Z1R as well as myself. So
I thought it was really interesting. Josh was telling me off camera a couple weeks back that you ride with one of the Z1R, one of the modular helmets.
I do.
And I thought that was so fascinating because modular helmets I see a lot of in the adventure riding community. That's a pretty normal, common helmet. But I haven't really seen a modular helmet in sport bike or stunt riding. Now, to be fair, I'm not huge in this scene, but I love the thought of you riding with this modular and you can pop it up and it's comfortable. I mean, what do you think about that Solaris helmet?
So that's my first modular helmet ever, and to be honest, I am hooked, and that's what seems to be the new wave here in Chicago is those modulars. Myself as a moto vlogger, I wish I could always wear it, but I just can't because I got to run wires up to here for my microphone and have a GoPro chin mount. And if I was in a modular, I'd just have it up all the time, and I wouldn't be able to make YouTube videos because no one would watch them because the camera would be straight up to the sky. So I kind of have to still wear a traditional helmet, but I do really enjoy wearing my modular on just around the town ride. Super comfortable. You can pull over, you can drink your water, you can talk to your friends. It's just a lot more convenient of a helmet.
So all I know is we've been talking for forever, which you and I could continue talking for forever about motorcycles, I feel like. But we've been talking forever about bikes. Let's go ride some motorcycles. I'm ready to go experience a day, Brian 636 style. So let's go ahead and go jump on some bikes and go check out the west side of Chicago.
Let's do it.
Our visit to Chicago and with Brian is just getting started. Check out part 2, where I ride the streets with Brian and get the lowdown on the neighborhood next time on Z1R Downshift.
Oh no!